magandang gabi sa inyong lahat and welcome to SNJ's Real Talk. I am your host for tonight, Thea, and we have Pastor John, aka Papi, with us tonight. Welcome uli, Pastor John. Any words of greeting sa ating mga audience?
Magandang araw po sa ating lahat, and we hope that you have enjoyed joining us for the past 2 sessions. And of course, we're going to have more sessions in the next couple of weeks. And we hope you have learned a lot as well. Of course, we are encouraging everyone once again to place their comments, questions for this episode so that we may be able to discuss them the next episode and that we will have a dynamic discussion with all of you guys. And of course, ang hiling din namin, if you benefited from our sessions today and the past couple of 2 sessions that we already had, I hope na i-share nyo sa mga kaibigan nyo so that they may benefit as well from this beautiful, wonderful talk about relationships, yung relasyon hindi konsumisyon. Real talk lang tayo, mga kasama.
Thank you so much for the words of greetings for tonight, Pastor John. And our theme for the series sa Real Talk natin is Relasyon, hindi konsumisyon. So to recap last week's episode, sa mga hindi pa nakapanood ng mga previous episodes natin, we talked about the results ng aming survey na nilabas namin during episode 1. And we talked about the most simple questions na it gave a different meaning when we got the results. Some were saying masaya sila sa being in a relationship. Sabi naman ng iba, hindi sila masaya in a relationship. And for the single people, most of them, there was a time sa buhay nila na na-wish nila they were in a relationship. So for tonight's episode, since we did a recap kanina, we're going to talk about questions na related sa pre-relationship. And we will have Pastor John talk about the following questions for tonight. So, Pastor John, we actually prepared several questions, and I'm sure magiging madami yung mga sagot natin most likely bibigay dito. Everyone who is watching this premiere, just sit back and relax, and kung meron man kayong additional questions that is related to pre-relationship, do not be shy to comment down, and we might be able to answer the question by next week's episode. Nalay natin, ma-feature siya. Tonight, Pastor John, our first question, so this is for pre-relationship sa mga nanonood. What would be the possible pros and cons when you are about to enter a relationship?
So let's talk about the pros muna. So when you enter into a relationship, kasi remember, the Bible is very clear din as well. Sabi ng Bible kasi, two will have more return for their work. So ibig sabihin, kapag tama talaga yung pag-enter natin sa relationship, remember, ang premise dito yung compatibility issue, lahat ng mga bagay na consider natin, nagkaroon tayo ng enough research, we gathered enough information to prepare us for that relationship. In other words, the pros of the relationship is, kapag talaga tayo yung mga tao that we are meant to be together, there's a lot of benefit out of that relationship. Siguro number one benefit ng relationship is that we have somebody who will complete and complement us in a way so that we can become the best versions of who we are. Sabi nga, di ba, in every successful man, there's a great woman. And I would flip it, in every successful woman, there's a man. That's why it's beautiful when you enter into a relationship na ganun yung connection, ganun yung unification, yung alignment na andon. And of course, eventually, kapag it leads into marriage, di ba, what happens is, magkakaroon tayo ng supling na matitrain natin na magiging ganun din. So, yung generational impact nito sa isang napagandang aligned, loving, caring relationship will be passed on from that generation through generation. Hopefully, yun yung nagagawin ng mga anak ng mga tao na nagkaroon ng magandang relationship.
In terms nun, Papi, sabi mo nga na you complement and complete each other. So, I'm sure meron dito tayong mga audience tonight na might be wondering, counted ba dito yung example na sinasabi nila, kung yung partner nyo di marunong magluto, yun dapat ba yung maging partner ay marunong magluto?
Well, potentially, oo, di ba? Kasi nga, you're able to be the strength for somebody else's weakness. You have the weakness and somebody else's strength. Pero syempre, pinakamababaw yung mga bagay sa gawain sa loob ng ng bahay, especially if you are married. So for instance, one of the key elements is this. Let's say you are emotional and your partner is not. So nagkakaroon ka ngayon ng balance. So nagkakaroon ka ng panibagong perspective, you see different things in a different lens, ika nga. So nako-complete niyo yun. In other words, nagkakaroon kayo ng robust discussion enough para magkaroon ng alteration ng behavior. Natatransform tayo because of that type of discussion. Halimbawa, introvert ka, extrovert yung napakasalan mo, o you're into a relationship, then tutulungan ka nitong taong ito to be pulled out of that. Halimbawa, ka rin, yung potential mo, nakikita, and hindi mo siya mahugot from your from your capability, yung potential mo is not realized, and then this person na maaari nagkaroon ka ng relationship, kaya niyang tulungan ka na yung potential mo ma-realize. So those are the the layers that can actually have that portion, lalo na yung aspect na, let's say meron ka mga hang-ups when you entered into a relationship, pero mali yan, pag-uusapan natin mamaya syempre yung importanteng dapat bitbitan sa relationship. But if in fact na meron kang hang-ups, tapos itong naging partner mo, naka-relationship mo, naging asawa mo, can help you overcome that hang-up. Certain fears na meron ka, di ba? So matutulungan ka to overcome the fear. Certain things na you are averse to. Let's say hindi ka mahilig gumala yung partner mo, then you can actually have a mix.
Papi, nasabi mo nga na it can work na if there's a weakness, pwedeng i-complete na ng partner mo. How about in the aspect na kailan nila dapat ma-detect na kung saan nagiging draining na yung partner mo? In other words, oo nga, nako-complement niya somehow yung weakness ng partner niya, or nagiging pa rin naman sila complementing, pero when can you detect kung nagiging abusive na, or nagiging medyo toxic na yung yung relationship, kung sila ay nagko-complement each other?
Medyo we're moving ahead of our discussion point kasi it's something that we will discuss later on. But for just to to tickle your bones, ika nga, and add that question, you will know definitely when meron ng certain degree of toxicity, or let's say yung dependence na andun na kumapit na. So we'll discuss that further. So what can happen is you just have to have that talk. Magkaroon ka ng honest, transparent discussion with your partner. Sabi mo sa kanya, wait, medyo naging toxic na relationship natin. I feel that you are being so dependent on me. I think that there is a certain abuse na here. Kasi nga, communication is very important. Kaya nga, kapag maganda yung combination ninyong dalawa, you can freely talk. Hindi ka matatakot magsabi ng criticisms. Hindi ka matatakot magsabi ng, medyo baduy ka, palitan mo yung damit mo. Hindi ka matatakot na, naamoy ko yung utot mo kahit hindi tumunog. You can have those discussions. Kaya nga, importante na yung pagpasok mo sa relationship, it's you are in a position to have that run in an ideal setup. But of course, we make flexibility. We put flexibility in the relationship just in case syempre merong mga bagay-bagay na mga bumpy roads ahead, nagkaroon ng issues about certain things, di ba? So, kailangan pa rin talagang maging maayos.
So viewers, for tonight, sabi nga ni Pastor Jan na honesty is the best policy when it comes to engaging in a relationship. If you would really want the pros to be active before entering a relationship, you need to be, of course, accepting. Number 1, number 2, magiging humble tayo enough na masabi natin yung mga what's on our mind, diba? So for us to enter a relationship, we really need to be prepared on knowing who's going to be our partner. So Pastor Jan, ngayon, we talked about the pros. How about the cons before entering a relationship? Ano yung mga kailangan tingnan nila na factors or red flags yung sa cons na pag-enter sa relationship?
Okay, just to give you an idea, mas maraming failed relationship than successful. I don't have the statistics, but if you're going to look at the divorce statistics sa US, or let's say yung yung annulment statistics sa Pilipinas, makikita niyo talaga maraming failed relationship. Recently, Melinda and Bill Gates just divorced. Diba? So, kung sinasabi natin, ang pera will make everybody happy, no, it's not. Because they're billionaires and yet they had that falling out of relationship. So, napakabigat ng impact, traumatic ang cons ng relationship na mali. So for instance, let's talk about the number one aspect, yung yung damage, emotional, physical, intellectual, relational, financial, material damage kapag mali yung relationship. So madadamage ka talaga kapag mali. So ang daming magiging negative tawag dito, changes sa buhay mo kapag hindi syempre mo na naayos siya. I have seen so many relationships na broken. May it be boyfriend, girlfriend, nung college ako, ang dami. So, may nabuntis, iniwan siya na nakabuntis sa kanya. In na-experience ko, nagkaroon ng sexually transmitted disease yung isang kaibigan namin. Namatay siya from AIDS. Nakita ko rin yung damage sa confidence, yung self-esteem, bumagsak. Kasi syempre, nasaktan dun sa relationship. Ang dami. Kaya nga, ang daming pamilyang palpak because hindi na-resolve yung maling experience doon sa kanilang relationships. May they be boyfriend, girlfriend, di ba? They may be live-in relationship. It may be marriage in itself. So ang daming nasisira, yung mga may pera na huhut-hutan ng pera, nabebenta nila yung ari-arian nila dahil mali yung napasok na relationship, pinirahan lang din sila eventually. O di kaya yung relationship na maayos naman, biglang nagkaroon ng fornicating experience or infidelity yung isa. Siyempre, anong damage kung mahina-hina yung tao? Diba? So, wala ka ng trust. Tapos, text ka ng text, diba? Naaawa ako. I mean, I can never forget yung nangyari sa one of my best friends nung nangalo niya yung asawa niya. Tapos, inaantay niya umuwi yung asawa niya. So, yung street sa bahay nila was true street siya. So, hindi siya dead end. So, titingin siya sa kabila, madaling araw sa labas siya ng kali. Grabe talaga yung damage na nagagawa doon sa yung constant relationship, di ba? Instead na maging maayos tayo, instead na maging productive tayo, na-spiral tayo to the point na hindi na tayo magiging best versions of who we are because of the damage that we have been inflicted because of the relationship na mali. Siyempre maapektuhan yung, let's say kung anak ka na, nagkaroon ka ng anak out of that relationship. I remember one of our friends, grabe yung kanyang damage kasi siya, 3 anak, 3 tatay.
Ang hirap nun.
Okay? Sa mga kinig dito, please look around. Look around you. Gaano karami na yung kilala nyo na palpak ang relationship. Kaya kailangan talaga sobrang ingat tayo. Kasi kung mahal natin yung sarili natin, iingat natin yung pag-enter natin sa relationship. Alam ko, more or less, sa lahat na nakikinig dito, you might be in a toxic relationship. You might have been damaged by a wrong relationship. Meron ka sigurong pinsan, kamag-anak, baka mamaya kapatid mo. O di kaya kung ikaw yung magulang, anak mo. Kung hindi ikaw mismo magulang, ikaw mismo. Diba? Ang daming single moms ngayon na nahihirapan. Diba? Kaya nga sobrang nalulungkot ako kapag ikaw, individual ka, lumalaki ka, and then you're surrounded by a lot of failed relationships, and then you enter into a relationship, tapos failed din siya. Diba? So, hindi natututo doon sa kanyang environment. Pumapasok pa rin doon sa bagay na causes them damage.
So, totoo na tragedy siya, Pastor Jan, no? Na yung mga tao na mas naka-experience ng cons sa pre-relationship. I've also seen or witnessed siguro mga classmates ko nung college mga friends ko before na nag-work pa ako sa BPO center. So marami talagang mas lamang yung broken family. Ang nakakalungkot pa doon, hindi siya talagang masasabi mong broken family. Kompleto sila, pero alam mong there's something wrong with the relationship.
Yeah.
So that's very sad. Paano naman, Pastor Jan, dun sa cons ng relationship in terms ng bigyan mo sila ng advice, ano bang pwede nilang gawin? Kasi 'di ba sa ligawan stage, parang kailangan maayos kayo, 'di ba? Tapos mamaya na mag-decide kayo na magsama kayo, doon mo nakita lahat nung totoong kulay. Anong mabibigay mong payo pag sa ganung aspeto?
Get out of the relationship kung naandun ka na, nakita mo na yung mga red flags. Kaya kailangan tayo maging prepared before entering into a relationship, diba? Do your research, find the information required, and we will discuss that further mamaya doon sa ating segment. I would just like to emphasize yung pangalawang cons, yung impact ng maling relationship. Enslavement doon sa relationship. So, dito, I have experience sa New Zealand. New Zealand na to So, napakaganda ng bansa, ang ayos-ayos ng gobyerno and everything. And there are people who are in an abusive relationship, but because they are already enslaved, hindi sila makatakas. The government has provided ways and means para yung person na na-abuse sa relationship can start over. Magkaroon siya ng reset. Magkaroon siya ng reboot. So, supportahan siya ng gobyerno. Bibigyan siya ng bahay, bibigyan siya ng trabaho. Kung wala siyang trabaho, bibigyan siya ng training. Kung meron silang anak, aalagaan ng gobyerno yung pangangailangan financially dun sa bata, education ng bata, and yet they cannot get out of the abusive relationship kasi enslaved na sila. Even though they are experiencing continuous damage, hindi sila makaalis, hindi sila makatakas. Maaring naisip nila heavily invested na sila, or let's say yung enslavement kasi came to the point wherein yung nagkaroon na sila ng dependence sa partner nila. And remember, dito sa New Zealand, may mga lalaking naaabuso sa relationship, na nai-enslave ng relationship. Kaya sa mga nakikinig dito, I do not believe na babae lang ang na-abuse. May mga lalaking na-abuse din. Ayaw lang kasing umamin. Walang tapang. Maaminin nila that they are in an abusive, toxic relationship and they are already enslaved. Yun yung impact ng abusive relationship. So eventually yung tao, hindi na siya makatakas kasi enslaved na siya. And of course, ang dami-dami syempre nasisira. Hindi mo na reach yung potential mo. 'Di ba? Hindi mo na nagawa yung yung design mo. Yung elusive joy. Hindi mo na makita. Hindi ka na nag-enjoy ng buhay hanggat sa kunin ka na ni Lord. 'Di ba? Kasi enslaved ka na eh. Unless na masiguro pag alam nyo nga yung isang incidents na wherein minsan namatay yung abuser doon sa relationship. Hindi na alam nung na-abuse kung anong gagawin niya kasi masyado na siyang dependent doon sa abuser niya. So yung pananakit, yung sinusuntok siya, minumura siya, binababoy siya nung abuser, para naging normal na sa kanya, na normalize na yung ganung buhay. Nakakalungkot. Even if you give them the resources, even if you give them the right advice, they cannot set themselves free because they have been entangled, enslaved in the relationship.
Pastor Jan, sa enslavement, that is a further level na pag nasa relationship ka na eh. So kapag ganun ba, ano mabibigay mong payo sa mga tao na enslaved na? You described already what enslavement is all about. Ano yung mga i-consider nyo na signs na na-enslave ka na sa relationship? How can they get out of it? Kasi I don't think na saying na be brave enough to confess and to ask help, I don't think na ganun siya kadali sa na-abuse. Ano masasabi mo tungkol doon?
We will have a meaty discussion again later on with regards to that. But just to answer your query, it's a decision away. You just have to make that decision. Yung enough is enough. And you are fully decided na hindi ka half-hearted sa decision mo, na you are still giving elbow room to go back into the abusive relationship. In other words, enough is enough, you are getting out. Make that decision. It's easier said than done, obviously. Okay? Kanina, napag-usapan natin the first con is damage. second con is enslavement. The third con is regrets. Syempre, real talk lang. Ang dami ko na nakausap na nandun sila sa point na nag-regret sila. Bakit ba sila pumasok doon sa relationship na yun? Bakit nila hinayaan na yung the youthful years of their lives, okay, na sip-sip sila, para silang na-dehydrate na grapes. Naging prune sila. O naging raisin sila or whatever it may be. So, ang daming regrets ng mga tao na pumasok doon sa relationship na hindi siya naging successful. Kaya nga, again, look around, ang daming mga taong pwede niyong kausapin. Tanungin niyo sila. Mag-research ka kayo eh. Yung kamag-anak niyo na lang na naghiwalay doon sa kanilang asawa o naghiwalay sa relationship. Huwag na kayong lumayo. Kaibigan niyo na lang din. Okay? And one of the strangest regret na meron akong nakausap about is this. Hindi siya masaya dun sa relationship, pero nagtuloy-tuloy pa rin siya. Hindi naman abusive yung kanya partner. Okay? Pero alam niya na hindi yun yung kanyang yung quote-unquote soulmate niya.
Okay.
Okay? So, kailangan pang dumating yung point na matay yun para ma-enjoy na lang yung buhay niya. Nag-aral siya, nakatapos siya ng degree niya. Kasi nung pumasok sila sa relationship, nabuntis kasi siya eh. Babae to ha. And then, syempre, nung nabuntis siya, nagpatuloy lang yung relationship, pinalaki nila yung mga anak nila. Maayos naman yung mga pagpapalaki nila. Pero again, even if hindi abusive yung relationship, hindi toxic yung relationship, diba? Sabihin pa na siguro ng mga kamag-anak yung pressures na, uy, okay na yan. It's better than having somebody na gugulpihin ka or whatever. Still may regret. Kasi nga, hindi tama yung naging ka-partner niya. Hindi tama yung napakasalan niyang husband. Diba? And doon namatay, doon niya lang na-realize na, ang dami ko palang pwedeng gawin sa buhay ko. Ang dami ko palang pwedeng ma-accomplish. And yet, na-limit ako doon sa napakaliit na box ko. Diba? But because hindi ko siya na-address. Kaya yung tatlong napakalumpit na constant relationship, yung damage, huwag niyong kakalimutan, enslavement, and of course, yung huli, regrets.
So nakakalungkot. That's the first time na narinig ko yung regret coming from someone na married na, tas na widow eventually, no? I have my own share din ng experience sa regret eh. Kasi I'm also a product ng product ako ng regretful relationship. So of course, obviously din na kami magkasama nung ex ko. Currently single parent ako, meron akong anak na magsi 6 years old this year. And one of the common regrets na meron ng mga single moms is parang sinasabi nila parati is, sayang pala no, dapat pinag-isipan mo na mabuti yung pipiliin ko lalaki. So sa mga babae dito na the same as I am, medyo bata na, naging batang ina. Well, di na ako bata during that time kasi magto-21 na ako nun, pero it's still young, physically speaking. Pero sa mga girls dito na in a relationship or hindi pa in a relationship, make sure na kapag may manliligaw sa inyo, mahalaga talaga na you make it known na meron nanliligaw sa inyo. Ang hirap kasi kapag secretive yung nangyari, kasi secretive sa amin eh. Si Pastor John or yung tatay ko, he tried to stop it several times until such time na yun nga, umabot na sa point na nabuntis ako, kaya wag niyo gagayahin. That's not a good example. Pero naman kasi there's this beauty na kung saan syempre sa SNJ, tinutulungan yung mga single moms na katulad ko to find hope again. And it's not the end of it, or hindi naman nawala yung worth mo bilang babae kapag single mom ka. And eventually, ang tinuturo kasi sa amin dito, you'll definitely find the right partner kapag talagang natuto kang sumunod at gabay sa simbahan. So yun. So moving on na tayo sa last question for pre-relationship. So, Pastor John, ang tanong ko is, what are the things we should prepare for before na mag-commit tayo in a relationship?
Napakagandang query. Again, napag-usapan natin yung pros and cons. I hope you were able to listen in very well, especially dun sa con side ng relationship. Of course, yung pros, but always have the best possible outcome. Of course, dahil nga pro nga siya, di ba? So, number one na kailangan mong i-prepare sa relationship, it's you. Wala ka dapat bit-bit entering into a relationship. I'm not saying na kailangan mong maging perfect. But, ibig sabihin, wala kang emotional hang-up na hindi na-heal or hindi ka naka-ask ng forgiveness o hindi ka nakapag-forgive entering into a relationship. Kasi, pagpasok mo pa lang, meron ka ng bit-bit na alanganin. So, let's say, ikaw may ubod-sipon ka. Meron kang nakatabing tao na walang ubod-sipon. Diba? Tapos nagkaroon kayo, let's say, ng contact, let's say, for about maybe 6 hours. So, nasa isang location kayo together. Potentially, magkakaroon siya ng ubot-sipon. So, in other words, nagdala ka ng virus doon sa relationship. Kaya nga, syempre, kung ikaw papasok ka sa relationship, please be responsible. Wala kang bibit-bitin into the relationship na negative. Kaya kailangan talaga tama yung prep mo. Ikaw mismo, halimbawa, nagkaroon ka ng trust issues. Diba? Bago ka pumasok sa relationship, make sure na na-settle mo na yung trust issue mo. Diba? Para let's say nagkaroon ka ng relationship, hindi yung text ng text ka, tawag ka ng tawag, pag hindi ka nabalikan, nagagalit ka, nawawild ka, yung imahinasyon mo, diba? Kung ano-ano na, baka may kasama siya, sino kasama niya. So, ang dami-dami nang pumasok sa utak mo, hindi na healthy yung relationship. Kaya ang hirap pumasok sa isang relationship na unhealthy ka. So, make sure you are healthy doon sa 7 areas of health. So that's very, very important. Yung, di ba? Spiritual, emotional, relational, physical, intellectual, financial, material. Dapat healthy ka when you come into a relationship. And of course, hindi naman natin syempre masasabi kung healthy rin yung mga kasama natin eventually. But ikaw kasi maging responsible ka. Kung sino ka man nakikinig ka ngayon, please make sure when you enter into a relationship, you are healthy in the 7 areas of health that we are discussing right now. So that's very important, yung health mo. Diba? Pangalawa is, naintindihan mo ang love. And love is never an emotion. Love is a state of mind. Love is supposed to be unconditional. So you don't create an expectation doon sa partner mo na kailangan niyang ma-meet kasi hindi love yun. Obsession yun. Diba? So pag pumasok ka sa relationship, you are ready to give yourself into the relationship. And you are not going to create expectations na mali. So, ika nga, level up mo yung pag-ibig mo. When you enter into a relationship, you understand love and you are ready to give unconditional love. Agape. Kaya mo ba yon? Kung hindi mo kaya, I suggest, huwag kang pumasok doon sa relationship na yun. At kung ikaw naman yung nakakatanggap ng, let's say, ng proposal to have a relationship, kung hindi kaya ng taong ibigay sa iyo ang conditional love, kung hindi healthy yung tao na papasok sa relationship with you, i-reject mo yun. Kahit ang pogi niya pa o kahit ang ganda niya, ang bango ng hininga niya. Okay? Kung mahilig ka sa mga exotic beauty na medyo gusto mo dark skin, kahit silky soft, parang chocolate skin siya, resist the temptation of entering to a relationship kasi physical siya. Kasi yun nga most often than not, we enter into a relationship with wrong motives. Kaya yung third point is, enter into the relationship with the right motive, with the right heart. Because that's very important. Diba? Yung motive mo, it's not to get something out of the relationship, but to give into the relationship. Kaya nga, diba, importante na healthy ka, number 1. Pangalawa, unconditional yung love na i-offer mo. Pangatlo, tama yung motive mo. So, dapat ikaw mismo, ganun siya. So, assess mo kagad, kung ikaw naman yung recipient ng offer ng relationship, healthy ba tong taong to? Naiintindihan niya ba ang love, unconditional love? Pangatlo, tama ba ang motive niya? O dahil nagandahan lang siya sa'yo o napugian lang siya sa'yo kaya siya pumapasok doon sa relationship. Diba? Trophy wife, trophy husband, something like that. Diba? Yung ba yun? Diba? So those are the things na top 3 na kailangan nyo ma-consider when you are entering into a relationship and when you are a recipient in an offer of relationship. Of course, okay, napaka-importante yung point na dapat ko i-discuss sa inyo is kailangan meron kang mabigat na support group, especially yung parents mo, mga kapatid mo, tsaka yung mga taong mature na meron silang certain understanding of what a relation should be and how a good relationship looks like. Alam nila when a bad relationship happens. So para mag-guide ka nila. Okay, so you have to have that people, yung nagsusurround sa'yo, na hindi mo gagawing sikreto. Sabi nga ni Thea kanina, sinikreto niya kasi relationship niya, kaya pumalpak eh. Oo, kadalasan, pag sinikreto mo ang relationship, palpak talaga siya kasi alam mong mali na kagad yung pinili mong partner. Alam mo yun eh, kaya hindi mo masabi. Diba? Kasi kung tama yung partner mo, magsisinungaling ka ba? Gagawin nyo ba ang inyong relationship na lihim, nasa ilalim ng dilim? Diba? And syempre, kung alam mong pumasok ka sa relationship na mali, tinago mo siya, alam mo na diskaril na agad yung umpisa pa lang ng relationship, and it's going to damage your relationships outside, yung mga pinakamalalapit sa'yo, yung mga nagmamahal talaga sa'yo. So that's very, very important. You have to have that circle na you inform people. Okay? May gusto akong ligawan kung ikaw yung manligaw. Tingin nyo ba okay siya? You bounce ideas. You talk about it. Diba? Kung ikaw naman yung makakatanggap ng ligaw, kailangan magpakita siya doon sa mga taong you are close with.
So, nag-agree ako sa'yo, Pastor John, on the aspect na kapag meron naliligaw na nga sa'yo, pag ikaw ay single pa, na classic, parating naging argument yan ng mga 21st century kids, lalo na sa mga Gen Z. I'm not sure sa millennials na katulad ko, pero kasi ngayon, ang sinasabi nga nila parang ang corny, pakinggan or i-take yung advice na kung saan when someone's courting you or may naliligaw sa iyo, dapat malaman ng magulang mo or dapat malaman ng guardian mo kung hindi mo kasama magulang mo. Anong masasabi mo on that aspect or anong masasabi mo para sa mga bata ngayon about this aspect wherein when someone's courting you, dapat malaman na makakasama mo sa buhay?
Number one kasi, influence ng culture na kine-create ng mga tao sa kapaligiran natin. And we want to conform to that culture kasi nasabi natin corny. Pero corny ba pag nabuntis ka? Corny ba pag naabuntis ka? Corny ba pag na-damage ka? Corny ba pag na-enslave ka? Diba? Corny ba kung may regrets ka? So, if you know self-care, iingatan mo syempre sarili mo eh. Diba kaya nga isusurround mo yung sarili mo ng mga tao na magbibigay sa'yo ng tamang payo. At kung ano man yung ginawa mo na lihim at ginawa mo sa dilim, alam mong mali yun. Most likely, gusto mo lang kasi masunod yung sarili mo. And you think it's cool. Okay? It starts to become uncool when you are into that relationship na mali na. Just like itong nagpa-counsel sa akin na babae. So, single siya. Tapos meron siyang pinsan na sinasabi sa kanya, uy, pasok ka sa relationship, i-test run mo, mag-test drive ka, makipag-sex ka para ma-experience mo yung iba't ibang flavor ng lalaki. Wow, sabi ko sa kanya. So, anong reaction mo? So, syempre, sabi niya, pinsan ko to eh, napakalapit niya sa akin. Anong gagawin ko? Tinanong niya ako. Sabi ko sa kanya, I don't think na tama yung sinasabi ng pinsan mo. Number one, kung ang pinsan mo mahal ka, sasabihin sa'yo umiwas ka sa pakikipag-sex kasi pwede kang magkaroon ng STD eh. Diba? Etong pinsan niya kasi naka-experience ng ng foreigner. Dalawang foreigner ata, tapos isang Pilipino. Okay, tapos sinasabi niya kasi na masaya yung ganong klaseng gawain para ma-experience mo naman bago ka magkaroon ng asawa. Yun ang sabi niya. Sabi ko, most likely itong pinsan mo na to, damage to. Kasi ini-influence ka niya negatively. So sabi niya cool, pero it's uncool. Okay? Kailan ba naging cool yung bagay na pumasok ka into a relationship na napaka-physical lang nung motive ng individual. At sinasabi ko sa kanya, itong pinsan mo, she's not telling the truth. Okay? Gusto niya lang kasi ma-damage ka rin. Di ba? Misery loves company. And that is why may mga tao will influence you negatively para you will be on the same boat. Diba? Hindi ka morally right doon sa individual na yun. Wala kang moral ascendancy kasi pareho lang kayo ng ginawa. Diba? So wala kang karapatan ngayon. So that's what's happening right now. So sa generation ngayon, they want to be the same immoral, fornicating generation para they will be in the same boat or on the same boat. So ngayon, pag may virgin sa kanilang nagpakasal, wow, virgin. So out of fashion. Kailan naging out of fashion? yung marunong kang mag-self-care kung babae ka. Kung lalaki ka, ayaw mo na yung virginity mo be given up just because of the culture that influences you negatively. Di ba ang ganda ng pareho kayong virgin, nagpakasal kayo, saka kayo nag-consummate, and then eventually, you can talk about how beautiful it is. Sabihin ng mga tao, yung mga naysayers, corny niya, wala kayong kwenta, ganyan-ganyan. Just because yung morality nyo is different from the morality of people who would take care of themselves doesn't mean that they are wrong, doesn't mean that they are uncool. I believe that they are cooler than the people who would just readily give up their virginity for nothing just because na influence.
Ayan. So, nothing beats the classic nga, sabi nga ng mga tao. So, classic is still trending. Siguro itong pinag-usapan nga ng Gen Z about relationships and courting. It may be a trend right now, pero baka malay mo in a decade or so, baka I don't know if it will worsen or will it improve? Babalik ba sa dating way na pupatay ng liligawan? So, naalala ko na meron din akong classmate na ganun yung experience na sinasabi niya na test drive ko muna kaya itong relationship ko. Pag di kami nag-click, cut na namin to. Parang for me, ang hirap nun kasi parang nag-invest ka emotionally or nag-invest ka rin ng iba't ibang aspects sa buhay mo. Nakatulad sinasabi ni Pastor John, may 7 areas sa buhay natin. We invested on that person, as mamaya hindi nag-click, magbe-break lang kayo. Hindi ba yung parang mentally draining for everyone? Kayo, mga viewers, ano bang thoughts about this? Kasi a lot of people right now are talking about mental wellness. They're talking about self-care. Pero never nilang tinackle yung portion about relationships, about entering relationships, tapos nadadamage yung mental health nyo. So, this is something na it's rarely talked about, pero it's very nice and it's very good to hear these things kasi mas maganda na bibigyan ng clarity yung mga tao na in a relationship and for those who are planning or not currently planning to be in a relationship.
Again, yung pre-relationship, it's very important to have a checklist, diba? So may standards ka na establish, diba? Not because maarte ka, but just because maingat ka kasi, diba? And you don't want to enter into a relationship na hindi ka ready o yung tao na nag-offer sa'yo ng relationship, hindi rin siya ready. So you have to have a checklist and you need to have a standard. Okay, number 1, hindi naman sa pagiging materyoso o materyosa. May ipon ba yung manliligaw mo? O ikaw, bago ka manligaw, may ipon ka ba? Meron ka bang pangpakasal kung ikaw yung manliligaw? Pwede ba kayo maghati doon sa cost ng kasal? Remember, you get married once. And of course, yung relationship should lead towards marriage because there is a contract, there's a covenant. Sabihin ng mga tao, hindi, okay lang okay lang tawag dito, mag-partner o mag-live-in. So it's fine. But still, may ipon ba kayong dalawa? O yung manliligaw mo na lalaki, ikaw lalaki, makinig ka, may ipon ka ba? Okay. Sa sa practical side, importante na meron kang ipon. Importante na may pera ka. And suggested nga sa kultura ng mga Israelites, ang isang lalaki should at the very least have na meron siyang 3 taong ipon bago siya pumasok into a relationship. Para maging maganda naman yung relationship, hindi kayo pressured financially when you enter into that relationship. At sa kultura ng mga Israelites, they would normally stop for about a maximum of 1 year from working because they already have the resources financially. So what happens is that will be the time of cleaving, yung pagka nagpakasal na sila. So 1 year, they will just be together. So 1 year yung honeymoon period talaga nila, literally speaking. So they were able to have a decent wedding. They were able to have a beautiful honeymoon. In that period of time, yung 1 year na yun, they are able to cleave, unite, and understand each other without the pressures of pambayad sa renta, bills, diba, pamasahe, pambayad sa kotse, na under amortization o motorsiklo. Diba, ang daming stress kapag hindi ka prepared financially. So that's checklist. Number 1, napag-usapan na natin yung intrinsic kanina, yung unconditional love, blah, blah, blah. So, okay na tayo ron. So, we're talking about the practical checklist right now. So, number 1. Number 2, alam mo ba yung background ng nag-o-offer ng relationship sa'yo? At alam mo rin ba yung background mo? Meaning, meron ba sa buhay mo na kailangan mong i-resolve? Meaning, do sa tao na mag-offer sa'yo ng relationship, okay ba yung kanila history as a family? 'Diba? Hindi naman sa pagiging choosy. Paano kung sindikato pala yung magulang ng individual? Hindi mo alam kasi hindi ka nag-research kaya pala binibigyan ka ng iPhone, nakaw pala. Hindi mo alam. 'Di ba? So do your due diligence. Ang mga kumpanya nga bago sila mag-invest sa isang company, they do their due diligence. May mga background checks, 'di ba? Kaya nga gustong-gusto ko yung kultura ng mga Israelites, yung mga Chinese, yung mga ibang Southeast Asian cultures kasi tinutulungan sila ng pamilya. Okay, na magkaroon ng proper background check kasi kailangan maganda yung compatibility at yung support ng family naka-wrap around yun doon sa my relationship. Iniingatan talaga kasi nga may protection kaya importante yung self-care, diba? So you know the background, so importante rin na magpa-drug test, diba? Importante yun, drug test, STD, baka mamaya yung taong yan naliligaw sa'yo, meron pa ng sexually transmitted disease, lalo na ngayon. Ang HPV ay napaka-prevalent sa Pilipinas at ang lugi sa HPV, yung babae. Kasi pag dinamaan ka ng HPV, hindi ka na magkakaanak. So forever na yung STD sa katawan mo, para siyang HIV. Hindi ka nag-background check, hindi ka nagpa-STD check. Kasi pwede mo naman tanongin, ikaw ba sexually active ka? Diba? Bigyan mo muna ako ng certification na wala ang sakit. Self-care. Protektahan mo sarili mo. Diba? Pwede rin kayo magpa-DNA test. Kasi there was this couple in the United States. So, ready na sila magpakasal. So, nagpa-DNA test sila. And they found out na second cousins pala sila. So, it could have been a disaster sa magiging anak nila. Maaring meron mga, may damage yung mga anak nila. Pwede maging special. Buti na lang, they were able to have that DNA test prior to marriage. So, nangyari tuloy sa kanila ngayon, they opted not to get married because they know it's wrong. So, ang hirap din nun, di ba? Kung ginawa nila sana nung umpisa pa, sana they were able to spare themselves of the heartache of not being able to get married because they finally realized that they are actually related. NBI clearance, police clearance, barangay clearance, kung ikaw yung recipient ng offer ng relationship, di ba? Kailangan may mga ganong klaseng protective means para malaman mo yung talagang totoong address niya. Lalong-lalo na kung nasa Manila yan o nasa city, tapos meron pala siyang bahay sa ibang lugar. Kailangan tama yun. Tama yung email address, tama yung FB account, IG account. Alam mo na walang multiple accounts yung individual. Kasi meron kang due diligence. Diba? You know how to protect yourself. Alam mo yung presence sa social media. Wala siyang itatago sa yung sikreto. Pwede mo siyang tanongin. Diba? Yung magulang niya magpapakilala sa'yo, mga kapatid niya magpapakilala sa'yo. Pupunta siya sa bahay kung ikaw yung recipient na maniligaw. Liligawan ka ng tama. Hindi ka te-text para magkita kayo sa madilim na kanto o manonood kayo sa sine. Napakabastos ng lalaking yun. Ibig sabihin, wala siyang respect o pag-ibig enough sa'yo para patunayan niya na kailangan siyang tumungtong sa loob ng bahay mo, magpakilala, magbigay ng resume na, ito yung talagang address niya, telephone number niya, email address niya, at syempre maganda kung nagtatrabaho na siya, ito yung kanyang referee check. Pwede mong tanungin yung boss niya, anong klaseng empleyado to? Diba? Self-care. And you have to understand how important that is. Kung takbuhan ka bigla niyan, paano ka makakontak? Hindi mo in-involve yung family mo. Buntis ka na, anong gagawin mo ngayon? Wala na yung lalaki. And it's uncool. Sabihin ng mga ibang tao na kailangan malaman. Oh, you have your freedom. Sinasabi mong freedom. Pero freedom ba talaga yung hinahanap mo? Diba? Just because ayaw mo ma-hinder yung relationship mo dito. Kaya nga, ang ganda ng ancient culture because the family is involved in the relationship. So therefore, may maayos na support group yung relationship. So that's very important, the checklist that you have, diba? Pwede mo naman tanongin, pwede ka ba mag-produce ng mo? Hindi naman sa materyoso ka, diba? Assets and liabilities na report, bank statement. Pwede naman yun Kung talagang matino yung lalaki na maniligaw sa'yo, more than willing siyang i-provide. At kung ikaw matino kang lalaki, alam mo na dapat ready ka. And you are ready to face the family. Go to the house, diba? Tapos pag meron na kayong time na magdi-date kayo, kailangan parating may chaperone para maprotektahan din kayo together. Diba? Those are the things na napaka practical Yung sabihin ng iba trivial, sabihin OA. But if you want to take care of yourself, diba? Kahit nga ikaw yung manliligaw eh. Pakilati sa nanay at tatay mo. Pakilala mo, ma, ito po yung girlfriend mo na, girlfriend mo. Seek blessing from your family. Both sides. If you are the recipient of manliligaw o ikaw ay nanliligaw, let a lot of people, help you with the decision.
So yung yung sinasabi ni Pastor John, mga viewers natin, na napakahalaga. And sinabi niya nga OA kung OA. Pero at least, diba, it's for your own protection. So talaga, it's the classic that's still prevalent. So kung ano yung trending ngayon, baka mamaya hindi na pala yung mag-trend eventually. So I remember, na actually this applies to the people na hindi na siya pre-relationship, pero for those people na naka-live-in. So parang yun nga sinasabi ni Pastor John, it is sort of uncool. So hindi siya sort of, it really is uncool. Kasi una sa lahat, bakit kayo magte-test by living in together, not knowing na yun nga hindi nyo malang chinek yung extrinsic checklist natin. So it is very crucial and vital, not only for the women na katulad ko, but also for men. Kasi it is both beneficial. Kasi yung lalaki, syempre, aside sa pinapropose niya yung sarili niya sa bahay, of course, kailangan niya malaman ano rin yung background ng babae na nagustuhan niya. Kasi baka mamaya, hanggang ganda lang yung babae, pero meron pala siyang mga internal stuff na kailangan niyang malaman eventually, pero late na malalaman nung nasa relationship na sila. So, thank you so much, Pastor John, for conveying your thoughts or for sharing the facts in terms of pre-relationship questions. As parting words, as your host for tonight for SNJ's Real Talk, again, kung meron kayong questions for pre-relationship, please go ahead and comment down. Huwag kayong mahiya. And for those who have not watched episode 1 and 2, I'll go ahead and pin down the watch link dyan sa comment section in our description for this video. So for tonight, Pastor John, do you have any parting words before we end our segment for tonight?
Oh, by the way, thank you so much for those who participated nga pala in the recent survey that we used in the last episode. We are here to protect you. We don't want you to become a statistic of a broken relationship or somebody who got hurt in the process. Some of the things that we have said might sound harsh to you, but it's actually our love. We want you to have the best possible relationship. We would want you to become the best versions of who you are. Enjoy the relationship. Have it till death do you part. It's going to be something truly amazing, not only for yourselves, but also kung magkakaroon kayo ng anak. And not only dun sa magiging anak ninyo, kung hindi dun sa mga kaibigan ninyo, na pwedeng pakita nyo na, oo nga, ang relationship na ito, wow, it's amazing. And for those maybe you have friends na nagkaroon ng maling relationship, you can inspire them na to tell them, oy, there's always that second chance. There's always that fresh start. And by looking at your example, they might say, let's give it another go and find that person, especially if they have learned from the last relationship na sumabay.
So, salamat, Pastor John, for those parting words, and salamat as well sa ating viewers who are currently watching and who will be watching this premiere. So we will see you again next week. Abangan. But we might premiere the questions na maaari nyo i-comment down tonight, and we will talk about questions naman para sa post-relationship. So abangan ang ating episode 4 for Relasyon, Hindi Konsumisyon. God bless you all. Bye for now.
Bye!